And we're back. Sorry about the delay in between videos. Um, I apologize for that. Sometimes I'm up to it, and sometimes I'm not up to it. And the last week or so, it's been a combination of stuff coming up and not feeling up to presenting this. And we're back. And hopefully, I'll try and keep it a little more regular stuff. I was getting messages and emails and stuff. Is something wrong? Did something happen to you? Are you feeling okay? Did you drop off the planet? I'm here. I'm here. Um, Dialysis sucks the life out of you, and sometimes I come home and I take a nap. It's just that simple. I get up really early. I get up around 4:15, 4:30 in the morning, 5 mornings a week. So that's why I look the way I look. Um, but it's doable, and today is a good day, so I figured, okay, we'll do that. Um, and then I was getting other emails going, why are you doing this? Is there something we don't know? I mean, do you see the writing on the wall? Are you looking for the exit sign? No, I'm fine as I can be, and as I mentioned before, I was always told write a book. I don't do books, especially after the carpal tunnel surgeries on my wrists. Um, my writing is deteriorating, something awful, and it continues to deteriorate. Um, Something called diabetic neuropathy, and if you're diabetic, the nerves in your body have a tendency to not work as well. So the writing is out of the question. And okay, well, why don't you dictate it to someone who will write it down? Well, I tried doing that. I really did. And some people that take notes and stuff like that. Some of them turn to drugs and alcohol, and others more spurious hobbies and stuff like that. So that didn't work. I haven't got the patience to dictate. And God help anybody who tries to decipher what I've been talking about. Go ahead, take a video, transcribe it, go for it. I dare you. So I thought, okay, I'll do videos, and so I am, and it's easy. I'm talking to a camera, and those few of you out there, two or three people who are watching this, and hopefully you're enjoying it. What I have found better than writing a book and better than dictating it to somebody and making a tape, maybe, are all the people who have written me and saying, boy, just listening to you and watching you talk brings back memories, good memories, and I'm enjoying it, and so on and so on. And I'm glad. Okay, I appreciate that. I'm glad that in some way, excuse me, this is keeping you entertained. What you're seeing is the raw deal. I don't rehearse. I just go. I have an idea what I want to talk about, and so that's that. But overall, it's been fun to do these videos. It's been fun to hear the feedback. And if you haven't subscribed, or maybe you already have, um, uh, click that button or whatever button. If I have a couple of dozen people watching, I'm happy about that. There's some interest there, and that's cool. Um, what I wanted to talk about in May or June, just before the summer, social media starts up, and then you get these ignorant people on Facebook and social media saying, "Oh, you teachers, you only work a few months of the year, and you get paid for a whole year, and you have summers off, and you only work till 3, and you go home, and you have the whole evening." Well, you guys, I'm preaching to the choir now. You guys know that's not the case. Um, when I went home, that's when my work started. Okay, that's when I would be prepared and spend evenings back in the days before Finale, the program that I used to compose music on. Everything was done by hand. Everything was written out. All the parts were written out by hand, all the arrangements, and if I had to change a key, I had to do the whole score all over again. I showed you the score to the Westwood Commencement March, and it was all written by hand, and in pencil with all kinds of stuff written on it. And then I had to copy out all the parts, and because we didn't have a photocopier to our disposal back in the really early days in the 80s. Um, Everything, if I wrote it out, it had to write on a mimeograph, and those things were only good for so many copies, and 10, 15, 20, 30 copies, and then you had to make a new one, and it was tough. It was really really tough to do that, but that's where the evenings and weekends went. That's what I did on the evenings and weekends, and a lot more effort goes in. I didn't want to show up on Monday morning flat-footed. Um, you had to know what you were doing with every single class all the time, and you had to think ahead. Unlike some math courses or science courses or English courses where every day there's a lesson plan and you just follow the lesson plan, and you know um, I never did a lesson plan, not one, in all 37 years of teaching, because it didn't stick. It didn't stick. I could make a lesson plan, and for those times when I was being reviewed, yeah, you'd make a few lesson plans and then you'd sort of stick to them. But you have to be flexible, and you have to be resilient, and you have to be think on your feet. And something doesn't work, you have to change gears, but you can't let the students know you're changing gears. It's got to be planned. And to be honest with you, I was on from the minute I got out of the car at 7:15 or 7:30 in the morning till the minute I got back in the car, as late as that could be, whether it was after rehearsal or after school, after parents' night, it didn't matter. And I was driving away, then I could actually relax. So I had to be on. I had to be conscious of what I was doing, what I was saying, um, because students are students, and if you can remember back then, you'll know how impressionistic you were, and or impressionable maybe is the word. And if I said the wrong thing or I looked the wrong way, and I sometimes that happened. I said to somebody once, I remember, um, how many off days did I ever have? And they could say, well, I can remember one or two, and it was obvious you weren't feeling up to whatever, and um, most of the time you were on. And I said, yeah, that's how you have to be when you work. Um, you go into work, well, I don't feel like going to work today, I'm in a bad mood. I could be in a bad mood, but the minute I walked through those doors of the school, I couldn't be in a bad mood, for obvious reasons. Um, but teaching is 90% mental. It really, really is. The better teachers. Now there are teachers who they're like in every industry. Whether it doesn't matter what industry you're in, you have really good people. You have not so good people, and then you have people that are in it for whatever the benefits of that particular occupation. Um, I mean, some people have days when they have off days. For example, if you're a dentist and you have an off day, God help your patients. You know, you can't have an off day. If you're a teacher, you can't have an off day. Um, and the days when I used to come in, and some of you remember me coming in really, really sick. The problem was supply teachers, even back then and right up to the end. I mean, I was a music supply teacher for 2 years before I landed my first teaching position. And I was on so many people's lists. I was on board lists from literally York region to Halton to Durham to at the time Scarborough was a separate board, and North York and East York and Toronto, they were all separate. And my phone would be lighting up first thing in the morning, depending, and they would fight. The one dispatcher for North York, I remember talking to her, and she said, if you're on the list the night before and I have to contact you, I'm going to be at work early to get you because you're in demand. And I said, why? She said, do you know how many qualified music supply teachers there are? You can probably have two or three for the entire Toronto metro region. Okay. Because a lot of these supply teachers, they say music on their ticket, and they'd come in, they might play piano, and they couldn't conduct a band class. And if they could conduct a band class, um, it's because they were band people who played primarily at night and then supply taught during the day, and they had no idea of how to teach. Um, I know that when I was in grade 9 and 10, we saw a supply teacher, everybody switched instruments. And when I was supply teaching, the kids tried to do that with me. I went to one school up in Markham, and they saw me, and you could tell all the kids, grade 10 class, everybody switched instruments. And the first thing I did was, okay, you guys know how to play a B flat concert scale? Yeah, B flat concert scale. And the guy's holding a baritone horn. He's regularly a flute player. And I said, go for it. And he looked at me and he went, I don't really play baritone. I said, none of you play what you're holding, do you? And they all went like this. I said, okay, switch to your instruments. Let's get going. And that's how you get the respect, and they understand where you're coming from. But yeah, supply teachers were very few and far between. And it meant if I had to set something up like a movie or a this or a that or a worksheet or a crossword puzzle, it wasn't benefiting the students any. And I knew that, and they knew that. And if I wasn't there, and if they decided to skip that class, that was okay with me. They weren't going to benefit from it. And if I could be in there, I was. And if I was sick, hey, the kids knew. Did I ever tell? Oh yeah. So and very somebody else sent me a message. Do you remember kicking the entire class out? Yes, I remember. I kicked an entire. I don't know if I talked about this, and if I didn't, it's all right. I'm doing it now. Senior class, grade 12 class, with Kevin Ramcharan was in there, and a whole bunch of other recent years, the last few years of my teaching career. I was showing a video that I felt it was important, and the kids were just being jerks about it. The whole grade 12 class, senior class, band. Okay, everybody was just being jerks about it. With about 10 minutes to go, I kicked the entire class out. Every single one of them. And they all shuffled out the door, and I slammed the door, and I said, did I just kick an entire class out? Yeah, I did. Yeah, that was cool. I don't know what they were talking to each other when they walked down the hall, but it was really. I know that one teacher stopped them and said, what are you guys doing in a class? Mr. Kaplan kicked all of us out. All of you? What did you do? I mean, did you murder somebody? It was funny. I used to have associate teachers from the Faculty of Education, and they ranged from the ridiculous to the bizarre. My very, very first year, we were in the back music room at the very back of the school, and I had a supply teacher, not a supply, student teacher from Hamilton. And this guy was white. And he'd never ever taught in a school where there wasn't white people. Yeah. And so he came to the school and he was clearly mortified to see an entire, like a large West Indian population. He didn't know what to make of it. And after school one day, he and I are in the music room at the back of the school, and we're chatting. And in walks Dwayne Blackburn. And if you know Dwayne, God bless you. Mwah, terrific guy. And Dwayne was 17 or 18 at the time. And he walks in with his friend Daryl. Don't remember his last name. A big guy. Wonderful, wonderful guy. But Daryl always had that "this is my happy face on." They walked in, and Dwayne's a lot bigger than I am, and Daryl was a lot bigger than Dwayne was. And they came over to me, and the first thing Dwayne does is give me a big hug, and Daryl gives me a big hug, And we start chatting and this, and that, and the other, and then bye, and 5 minutes later they're gone. And this guy is sitting in the chair, and you can see him white as a sheet. And I said, "What happened?" He said, "You know those guys?" I said, "Yeah. Uh, they're the most loving type people on the planet. I thought they were going to mug us." I said, "Don't go by looks. What are you thinking? You're going to be going to the teaching profession, and you're going to get this kind of student, and you're going to judge by looks. Are you stupid?" And I said that to him. I said, "Don't do that." Apparently, he decided not to go into teaching because the next school he went at was somewhere in Scarborough, and he did get threatened by a student because he's mentioned something about color to the student, and the student walked right up to him and gave him a fairly good ideology of why you don't say that to a student, and he backed out of teaching altogether. And then I had one guy who wanted to conduct. That's all he wanted to do was he wanted to conduct. Okay, so conduct. Okay, there's the baton, there's a score, conduct. Oh, I don't know how to read the score. But you play piano. It's just like piano. Well, I've never conducted before. I just want to conduct. Oh, you want to do a Lawrence Welk and a one and a two and or Andre Rieu, where you have the violin in your one hand and you're conducting like this and you're holding onto that violin, which is so stupid. He has thousands and thousands and thousands of fans in attendance, and he's got all these people on stage, and he's holding this stupid violin and he's conducting. Why? Put the stupid thing down. Use both hands. Anyway, I knew how to conduct when I was 15 years old. So this guy gets up there and he's doing this. The piece is in three. Like 1, 2, 3, 1, da, dee, da, da, da. And he's going like this. And I'm going, "Come here, sit down. Sit down. You want to run a music class? You don't know how to read a score?" "Yeah." And then in art, I had an art student teacher who didn't know the difference between. Okay, this is legitimate. How many of you up there are artists? Hands up. Okay, good. You know the difference between a pencil number 2 and HB, the hardness of the graphite. Some pencils are used more for shading, other used are more for darker, fine lines. And if you're an artist and you are going to university for art and you graduated with a degree in art and then you want to become a teacher and you want to teach art, you might want to know the difference between one paintbrush and another. You might want to know the difference between watercolor and acrylic. I mean, you might want to do this. And so um, I always enjoyed the art classes because, and I know some of you out there took an art class with me way back when. And they said, "But you're a music teacher." Yes. And I went to university and I was a double major. I would major in music and visual arts. "Oh, you're an artist as well." You can be both. Okay, I mean, you can be an art and dance double major. You can do all kinds of stuff. So yeah, the students, and this one young teacher was trying to teach perspective, and I they were doing it wrong. They were actually teaching it wrong because perspective is 1 point or 2 points perspective, and you have the horizon line and you have the vanishing points, and she didn't know what she was doing, and I had to go up and correct her, and then I got yelled at for that. "You're not supposed to correct the teacher." Yeah, I kind of had to. I mean, she was teaching. The vanishing point wasn't even on the horizon line thingy when you to 1 point perspective, and everything vanishes into one thing. And this is what we're teaching in grade 9. And she had something over here and over there, and the lines didn't match, and the vertical lines weren't straight. And I said, "But yeah, we're not supposed to correct the teacher." "Yeah, you are. If she's my associate teacher, I'm going to correct her. And if she has trouble with that, they'll let her get a teaching position and watch the principal come in and correct her, because he will." Anyway, so there was that. But overall, it was one of those teaching sick was what I was getting at. I came into because getting a supply teacher was brutal, just brutal, and I hated handing out crap to the students, and you guys know that, and or videos, and unless I'm there with the video to describe it, it doesn't seem to work properly. Um, I don't know if I could teach today. There are very few qualified supply teachers, and those that are a lot of the supply teachers that are out there. I met a lot of them. These are people with PhDs from other countries. I talked about this in another video. PhDs in like physics or quantum mechanics or something, and then the supply teacher. And if you're a supply teacher, the classes that you're given very often are not the well behaved ones. They're not the advanced level ones. Those very rarely are given to supply teachers. It's the problem classes that are handed out. And I don't know if I could supply teach today. I don't think I'd have the patience for it. There would probably be blood on the walls, and it wouldn't be mine. But anyway, I'm back. I thank you for your electronic cards and letters. I know that, and I appreciate comments for a lot of people who are saying, that bringing back memories um, cause them to smile and remember and blah 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 and I'm glad. I'm glad. I'm glad that you guys are enjoying it and spread the word. Spread the word. Certainly, there's not a lot of viewers, but that's okay. I'm not looking for viewers. I am looking for maybe former teachers who might be interested in this and comments and so on and so forth that I've taught with. But not all teachers are tech savvy and YouTubey and Facebooky and stuff like that. Anyway, I'll keep this. This is shorter than the other ones. We will hopefully see you later on in the week. Stay cool. Take care. Get your shots. Bye.